rather than a manufactured home that's been declared real property. There's a slight difference in how we classify those. So when we look at the home, we show the bulk of the dwelling, 1,736 square feet up and the same down, as being built back in 1985. And so when we looked at the value increase, the first thing we did is we adjusted the classification to appropriately reflect it as a manufactured double-wide declared real property. So that dropped the assessed value from $415,462 down to $390,720. And so from that point, we looked in to see why did we have the increase from $300 last year to $390 this year. The two things that we discovered is, one, we saw an appreciation in the market, and even manufactured homes, we're talking about a 5-acre piece of land. They are selling at an increased rate over what we've seen in the past. And the additional part that increased the value, the remainder, is back in November of 2020, the appellants just completed a 640 square foot addition to the back of the home. So now we have 640 square feet of additional living space that is just going on for this year. So those two things combined are how we got to that new value.
Okay. Comment?
Jason, what would you say is the value of that 600 square feet at $73 a square foot? That's what your total value is?
It's hard to break out just that portion, but that's in the ballpark.
That'd be $44,000.
15%, 345, plus 44, 390.
So we're right there. Yeah, I don't think I can argue with your movement to 390. I think that's realistic. So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion on parcel RPRRCH. I believe that is an I000900, that we accept the assessor's amended value of $390,720. Is that correct, Jason?
Yes, that's correct.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. All right. So, I guess Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Okay. I'll go through my spiel here.
Okay.
Now you're here. We recognize and support your right to come register your concerns and appeal the appraisals that are given. Our duty is to hear both sides and make a determination based on the facts as we see them. The assessor must assess value at market value on all properties in Bannock County. The appeal process gives the property owner the chance to appeal said value before this board. If for some reason the decision rendered does not meet with your satisfaction, we encourage you to file an appeal with the State Board of Tax Appeals. Another option is the district courts. It is imperative that you focus on property valuation, not on property taxes or on people. We'll ask the Deputy Clerk, Nancy Allen, to swear you in at this time. So we'll give you 3 minutes, and then we'll ask some questions, and then we'll give the assessor's table 3 minutes. We'll ask questions, and then we'll come back to you for 2 more minutes, and then the board will have a discussion and make a decision.
Okay.
Please state your name.
Brad Thomas.
And your 3 minutes begin.
The little letter I wrote in there is kind of what I'm trying to say. It's the attached appraisal that was 6 months before the date where you guys assume. Kind of shows where I'm at with the house. There was a reason when I bought it for $119,000 that it was $119,000 in that neighborhood. Super great neighborhood. The house is not super great. On that appraisal, it says it was constructed in 1985. It wasn't. It was a super old home. 50s might be generous. It was moved to that site in 1985 from somewhere out in Arden Valley. the roof needs replaced, and it just doesn't, it's not just a $12,000, $10,000 roof. It's actually the old school construction where they put the 1x6s on it, and then put the wood shingles on top of 1x6s. So when I actually can afford to have it done, it's got to be tore off and sheeted. The soffit boards are all rotted out. I've got to redo the soffitting. And there's settling. They did those two little additions in the front of it that both had settled. So I've got about a 2.5-inch drop over 12 feet in the living room and the kitchen. That when I redo the flooring, it's got to be recompensated, or the foundation's got to be lifted up. So I understand why you guys got that number from. That neighborhood is exploding. The new homes there are crazy expensive. And just to compare those two things, I get that value. But when you actually walk into the home that I live in, it's just not, it's not to that point. A few years ago, I had to redo the tile in the bathroom and pulled the old wall off, pulled the old wallboard. There'd been a fire in the house, and the wall behind the shower was literally burned, and nobody had ever replaced it. And I could grab the boards and just crush them. I had to rebuild the whole wall behind the house. And I have no idea how much further that went, because somebody just covered up with sheetrock at one point and called it good. So, not the 260. The 205 is fine. I actually think high end, that's reasonable. And if I sold it, if I listed it at 200, people would be okay, yeah, maybe. And then they come in and they call out the roof, they call out the settling, and they say, you know, how about 185, 180 to compensate for the roof. So I'm okay at the current 205. That's fine. Just I thought the 260 was excessive for what the home is. Not the area. Area's great, which is why I bought that home. But it's just not something that it's at yet. And something like I said, it doesn't even have a garage. Where the appraisal, I don't know if the appraiser did that to get me the loan value. I know they moved those around, but okay.
All right.
Go on.
Thank you.
Sure.
Questions?
The only question is, would the appellant be open to us completing an interior site inspection?
Sure.
No further questions. In listening to everything the appellant has said and the photos that they've submitted, I do believe that this certainly warrants a reinspection of the property to make sure that we can more accurately reflect the current condition that it's in. In regards to the year built, I think that we could certainly see if there's anything we can do on our end and possibly work with the appellant to try and find out maybe what a more accurate build date is and get that reflected. That is something that will affect depreciation. And right now, until we get that figured out and get it inspected, I'm comfortable going back to last year's value. And then if we can get with the appellant in the next few months, we can get it better reflected for next year.
You have 2 minutes if you need them. If not,
No, and that's fine. And it's like the age, it still has knob and tube wiring in the attic, which was 70s when they stopped doing that. I mean, early 70s. So yeah, it definitely wasn't. I wish it was a 1985 house, guys. I really do, but it's not.
Okay, Mr. Chair, on parcel RPR WHS 000900, I move that we accept the assessor's recommendation of using the 2020 value of $205,105 until they have a chance to go out and do the inspection.
you have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we've come back to last year's value. We appreciate the assessor's office wanting to do the right thing. So,
Okay.
thank you for your
And
time.
anytime you want to schedule that.
Can we get a hold of you with the contact information on your cell phone? The last four on your phone number, is it 1020 or 110? 1020, okay. Perfect, thank you.
Sure.
With that being said, we'll be at recess till 1 o'clock.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.